But I was wondering whether or not we could do a little bit more. And President Richard said that this year, Rotary, I guess International or something, has a theme of protecting the environment. And so basically what my idea is we have all kinds of visitors from all over that come visit Newport in the summer. And I was thinking, what if we could motivate them to go out and do a little beach cleanup every now and then, and instead of doing it one day a year, we could do it all the time during the summer. And I was thinking, well, what would it take to get something like that started? And so basically, here's the purpose. Visitors come here and we want to raise their awareness of some green things that they can do, and beach cleanup's just one. And so raising awareness is the first part, but the second part is to inspire them, motivate them to do action. In other words, actually do something. So that's what this project's about. And so I have kind of broken it down. Well, this first part, I have it for 4 M's for marketing. Just bear with me. The first M is for the market. Who are we going after? Well, the answer is Newport visitors. But that's a gigantic market. So we need to break that down. So I'm saying, let's go for the visitors at the hotels, at the restaurants, and at the Oregon Coast Aquarium. But that's still kind of a gigantic market. So let's break it down some more. I want to go after the people that check into the hotels along the beach, go to the restaurants that want to participate with us, and again, the Oregon Coast Aquarium. But that still is pretty big market. And so what I'm suggesting is that we run this campaign from Memorial Day to Labor Day 2023. So that gives us a lot of time to plan and put things together and hopefully implement it by Labor Day 2023. Now, the second part of the M is the means. How are we gonna get the word out? And there's lots of ways to get a word out to your target market. I mean, you can do TV, radio ads, you can hire the Goodyear blimp to fly over. What I'm suggesting is something pretty simple. 2 things. One is placemats at the restaurants and little pamphlets in the hotel rooms, and both at the aquarium. And so that would be the means. It's very low tech, very low tech. So the third M is, what's our message? What message are we going to send to these folks? And the first message is basically, here's the problems. Here's some of the concerns that we have with the environment. And the second part of the message is, here's what you can do to help. So we've talked about who the market is. We've talked about how we're going, what means we're going to use to get their attention. Talk briefly about the message. And the final M is money. Okay, how are we going to fund this thing? And there's a rumor out there that the solid waste folks of the county have money that they collect, 5 cents or something, that has to go to green projects. There might be a chance that we could get some help from them, at least for the Newport area. If we can do some things for the hotels and the restaurants, it's actually going to save them money for electricity, water use, other things. They might be willing to kick in. And then the other source of money could be our own Rotary Club. And then there might be some regional or national Rotary money that I'm not aware of. So that's basically the idea. And now that we've gone through the 4 M's, we're going to go through the 4 I's. And the first I is get people in. Well, that's the easiest part, because people are going to show up to restaurants without our help. They're going to check into the hotel rooms without our help. And they're also going to buy tickets and go to the aquarium. So getting them in is the easiest part of this. Uh-oh. I have a phone ringing. Don't pay attention.
We'll find you tomorrow on Thursday.
So the second I, this is a, never mind. I'll just keep going. It'll go to message. God, hang on. Okay. Next thing is get them interested. How are we going to get them interested? Well, that is based on coming up with a headline. And so I'll give you a couple examples for the hotels. Here's one potential headline. Mother Nature is warning all of us, clean your room. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then when you open it, the top of it says, since beginning of time on Earth, not one fish, bird, reptile, or 99.9% of all mammals has ever thrown away a single bottle or plastic bag. Question, so who's making this big mess? Answer, all of us humans, and it goes on from there. Another one, headline, Newport has a drinking problem. And then at the bottom says every summer. And so it goes on to talk about the water usage and the rainfall amounts difference, the population of Newport during the summer, winter as opposed to a weekend in the summer. And then it goes on to all the kinds of things you can do to save on water. Then here's a headline, 10 things you can do at the beach without using a cell phone. And so it goes on with that sort of thing. So the second I is headlines. Now the next I is get people informed, and that becomes the contents of what we're trying to tell them. And as I said before, you kind of lay out the problem and then you propose solutions. Here's an example of one of the placemats that we have. I've got, I don't know, half a dozen examples of these things, but what we really need to do is get more input, more examples, and then do a little market research and find out who likes what. But the one about the starfish, how many people have heard the starfish story before? Raise your hand so I can see. No, not everyone. Okay, I'll tell you, it's this little girl's walking along the beach and a bunch of starfish had washed up on the beach, and she was out there throwing them one at a time back into the sea. And some guy was watching her and came up to her and says, what are you doing? This is crazy. You can't make any difference, trying to help these starfish. And she picks up a starfish and throws it back into the ocean and says, well, I made a difference for that one. And so then the guy was inspired. He started helping her. Other people saw that and they all came out and helped. And next thing you know, all the starfish were thrown back in the sea and we all lived happily ever after. Well, after the story, underneath that, I say, well, what if a family filled up one little bag with littered trash of one of Newport's beaches? And what if every family eating in this restaurant did the same? And what if every family in every restaurant in Newport did the same? And what if the coastal Oregon towns followed Newport's example? Well, Oregon would have the cleanest beaches in the Pacific Ocean coastline, and so on and so on and so on. And then I'm big on quotes, and I think the perfect quote that would go with this is the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. And so I've got a number of these placemat things, and the placemats could get real innovative. I mean, that's an example of a story, but it could be a fill in the blank story. It could be a crossword puzzle. It could be a yes, no test. It could be whatever our brains come up with. But we do have, here's the part of either the placemat stories or the other hotel stories. There are certain components that I'd like to build into it. One is a little humor and a little fun, because the doom and gloom of what's happening to our environment could turn people off. So try and keep it light. I'd like to have local graphics, not have clip art. What I'd like to do is get kids either at the college, at the high school, or grade schools to do some drawings and then put their name underneath, and it could say Sally Smith, age 7 at Sandcase Elementary School. It also needs to have an emotional draw, but it also needs to be backed with actual facts. And so that means we got to get somebody doing some research so that our facts are accurate and not just something somebody found on the internet and nobody knows for sure if it's true. And then the final thing, just like in any sales pitch, the last thing in a sales pitch is, ask for the order. Well, here we need a call for action. Give them something to do. Ask them to do something. And then the final part, and I would like to see this in every one of these, is some kind of an evaluation component. I use one thing in the hotel. One of the titles is, for instant karma, look inside, the universe is waiting. And when you're nice to the universe in return, the universe will be nice to you. And it talks about turning off the lights when you leave the hotel room. Don't take long showers and different things you can do. But at the end, it says, tell the person who cleans your room, thank you, and leave a nice tip. And then the last part is, when you check out, tell the people at the front desk your favorite knock knock joke. Well, if we go back a few months later and they've collected a whole bunch of knock knock jokes, then that's a form of evaluation. We know that people are actually reading these things. And if you want to incentivize it, then get the hotel to give them a free weekend for 2 or something if they submit their knock knock jokes. So basically, that's my pitch. And what I'm looking for from this group is, one, is just some initial reactions, whether you like the idea or not. But more importantly, you've got my email address, and you could, if you want to get involved, send me your phone number. I'll call you and we can talk about what you might be willing to do. I've got some different job descriptions, anything from, writing stuff to, we're going to need to go out and make some visits. Anyway, there's lots of different job descriptions I can come up with. And so again, if you're interested in helping, even if you're in Ohio or Texas, I bet I could come up with something for you to do. Give me a call. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank
Guy,
you, Guy.
If I can just jump in on this, if that's okay, Diane.
Sure.
So Guy, thank you. That's, I think this is a wonderful project. I'm really excited about it. And, I was chatting with Diane when you started, because, I'm thinking, well, this is not, it's the Rotaract Club of Newport, but we don't have very many people in Newport that are on this call. However, what you're talking about, it really is good for all of the world. And even though the subjects and the descriptions of models that you gave us might be more focused on the beach. I think this is something that if the Rotaract Club members do want to help you get it going and do want to start contributing, this is something that we could implement wherever, like you said, even in Ohio and Dallas. And it's not just to help us out here in Newport, but maybe we could get it going in their locales too. So I think this is a great project personally. And if the Rotaract Club wants to pick it up, I think it'd be a wonderful thing to get started on.
I couldn't agree with you more, Sonia. Am I sharing my PowerPoint or am I sharing something else with you?
We're looking at the models of the Imagine Rotaract Newport ideas.
Okay, all right. Okay, I want to make sure I'm sharing the right. That's why I was so excited when Guy and I got together yesterday. And these were some on the screen here are some of the ideas that he talked about today. And I thought, you know, we need to clean up trash everywhere. There's got to be trash in Ohio, and there's got to be, you may not have beaches, but maybe you have beaches on lakes. And the same with
Lake Erie has beaches.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And there's got to be trash in your towns, and there's got to be ways to save water. You have hotels and restaurants and so on and so forth. So I thought this would be a perfect project for us to get started on, and we can all do research, right? We can all help Guy with research, because he said some of his ideas were kind of old. But I don't know, does anybody else want to talk about this before we go on to Sylvia?
I wonder, Guy, if you thought about targeting this towards kids. You know, you mentioned the idea of the placemat at a restaurant. It'd be neat to have it as a kid's placemat, which is kind of environmentally engaging, because the kids are likely to convince their parents to go out and do it. And so, you know, maybe focusing the placemat one actually on kids, that would also get restaurants. They're always looking for new content for the kids to do while they're waiting to keep them engaged. This is a way you could put some, you know, environmentally focused puzzles and games on there and focus them that way. I think it's got some real potential. Thanks for bringing this, Guy.
Yeah, the placemats, like you said, I mean, you're sitting there waiting for your food to come, and hopefully people just aren't staring at their cell phones. If we can motivate them to actually look at the placemat and do something, puzzles, games, questions, yeah, it's our imagination run wild. And I agree, let's get kids involved.
Anybody else before we move on to Sylvia and have her tell us her ideas for a service project?
I'll just jump in real quickly. I apologize for being late. Guy stopped my office the other day and we kind of got the gist of the program, and I just think it's got a lot of merit. I know that we've got time to get it going, and you know, if we give him some feedback or some things that maybe this work here or this would work there, I think he's open to that. And you know, certainly would love to see what he shared with me about 10 months ago of this kind of this vision for this thing that he's been working on for his whole life, really. So I'd love to help out or do something with that, and you know, if we can get more folks involved, I'm certainly here to support you, Guy, and Rotaract.
Thanks, Richard. Sylvia, do you want to talk about some of your service projects that you think that our club might be able to help you with? And remember, we've got Sally's in Texas and Gemma's in Ohio. So,
well, Diane, you kind of got that backwards. I wasn't here to tell people what projects I want them to help me with. I was actually soliciting projects that people would like to do. So more local things, yes. When Guy originally approached me in February for the environmental project, I didn't do any local things under the, oh my gosh, we got to get this going. And then, you know, when I met with him a couple of weeks ago, he said 2023, and I kind of breathed a sigh of relief, but it's like, okay, now what do we do? And in the past, we have done things like, you know, make launch boxes for foster kids and collect school supplies and help Grace Winds Haven. And Most recently in February, we got pajamas for Samaritan House. So a lot of it though is, go out and buy something. So I would love to especially hear hands-on projects. Last fall, we cleaned Literacy Park up a little bit, trimmed shrubs, did a little war with the blackberry bushes, but anything local for the communities. And for those who aren't in Newport, perhaps you know of some projects that maybe you did in high school that were super effective or got good participation, or maybe something in college. So I would like to hear your ideas.
So Jim or Sally or Julia, would any of you like to talk about some ideas?
Yeah, I've found that if I think of something, participation is not nearly as good as if members think of it.
That's true. That's true. That's why I just loved Guy's ideas. We were only going to talk for a few minutes, and I think we spent way over an hour, Guy. And that's why I took all the pictures of that I put on the PowerPoint. I said, I'll just put them on the PowerPoint, and they're just examples. And again, they're just schematics for his ideas. And like he told me yesterday, he's got old news, old information. So all of this has to be researched and come up with the latest and greatest information.
Well, anybody can certainly get back to me if you do think of something. My email is in the listserv. I'll put my phone number in the chat. And, it isn't necessarily that you have to, it's particularly, you don't have to do it yourself. It's what
The
would
club.
help getting things done. Perhaps you see a need and you're looking at how can we solve this. I do not look at duplicating projects that other people are already doing. For instance, Grace Wins in Newport does a lot of work for homeless folks. They give them lockers, they have an address for mailing, they help them connect to social services. So we're looking at supporting projects like that, but maybe little libraries that need restocking or need books, or a particular need that's not being met. Those are the kind of things that I'd like to hear about.
Sylvia, can I ask a question? This is Rich.
Hi, Rich.
Hey, I wonder if we could kind of tag this with a membership drive. I mean, are there ways that the Rotary is used to kind of grow Rotaract clubs that, target, maybe reach out to the community to find out what they want as a way to draw people to join us in Rotaract? I mean, is there a mechanism there that we could maybe tap?
I am not the Rotaract person to ask, I'm here to learn more about the club, but the Rotaract itself. But I think, yeah, anything that would get people interested, there's a group of folks who have a let's help the community attitude. And in a world where we want to be helping people in Ukraine, not all of us can open our houses up and bring in refugees, but we can do something to help people in our area, or maybe just make the community a better place. Picking up trash on the highways is not glorious or glamorous, but it sure makes a difference in the Marine Science Center. And you don't appreciate it more than when you go somewhere else. I was recently in Fresno, and the trash around there just made me miss Oregon.
Yep.
I was
go ahead.
I was thinking that appeal that you just described, Sylvia, about doing good in the community, maybe that's part of the messaging that we focus on in this first year of Rotaract, is that we're here to help do good in the community effectively. We want you to be a part of it. And maybe we should think about our project this year as something that goes towards growing that community as really the core goal of this first year.
I think that's a great idea, Rich. And I actually, I'm sharing my screen, but there's a Rotaract or a Rotary magazine, and in it, there was an article about building, because Rotary was considered, I'll call it an old white guys club a long time ago. It was considered one of the legacy type clubs. And so now we are trying to be different. We are trying to be more inclusive, include young people, include people who are just starting out on their career, in their careers, including high school students. And I noticed our Interact president, Elliot, joined us. Hi, Elliot. Thank you for coming to our meeting. But Rich, I think your idea, that's exactly what that article said. Appeal to young people so they want to come to the meeting, so that they want, or not come to the meeting, belong to the, not come to the meeting because there's too many meetings, but belong to Rotaract. And how would they serve the community, and how can we get people excited about our Rotaract club? And I think that's probably what we should be doing. And that's why Keith said to me, Diane, get a project. Forget about, which I have up on the screen now, the leadership roles. He said, get a project, get people excited about doing something besides coming to a meeting.
Well, and Diane, what we can do is sit down and take a look at the list that the new member workshop that Julie's came up with, and see if there's something that might appeal to, you know, both regular Newport Rotary and Rotaract.
Right. And we are going to have an ABCs of Rotary. And I would, because I'm on that committee, I would like to invite all the Rotaractors to that ABCs of Rotary. And you can find out in gory detail what Rotary is about. So I'll make sure that happens. It's on May 5th at 5:30, and it's going to be a hybrid meeting. So I can invite people who are not in the city of Newport. And I don't know, is it premature now to talk about people who might want to be a president, a vice president, a secretary, or treasurer? We can put that off and talk about more of a service project if we want to. If it's too premature to do this now, we can wait.
Don't scare them yet.
Yeah, we already tried it. We did it backwards the first time when we started. Okay. Let me just keep going then. We talked about this at the last meeting. Rotaract can apply for grants. We can apply for grants along with our Rotary Club or with other Rotaract clubs. One of the things that Sonia suggested, and I was the Interact coordinator when I first became a Rotarian back in the 2015-2016 timeframe. And what we did at that time was our Interact Club partnered with Oregon State University and University of Oregon's Rotaract clubs, and we did a beach cleanup here in Newport, and it was a lot of fun. Again, that might be kind of hard to do with our people who are not in Newport, but anyway, that was, I think, there was one other thing. Yeah. Ideas for spreading the word. And again, we've got Cynthia and Rich Cynthia's with Hatfield Marine Science Center. Rich is with the University of Oregon. We've got Elliot here who.
Don't throw in with those ducks.
I'm
You should
sorry.
be privileged enough.
Oregon State
Yeah.
University. I'm sorry, Rich. My mind is just, I'm thinking about taxes because
I'm just giving you grief,
Yeah.
Diane. Don't worry about it.
That's my story anyway, and I'm going to stick to it. Elliot, Sonia and I at least are, and whoever else wants to come are going to come to, we hope we come to your May Newport High School Interact meeting, because that's maybe when more of the interactors who are seniors might be turning 18. And Julia, you're with Oregon Coast Community College. So how can we spread the word? How can we get people excited? And what should we do for our next meeting?
well, sure, Julia may not be able to be tuning in right at the moment, but we talked to her about getting some type of signage out at the community college, and she was going to check in with Brigida and see to get that approved. But I think having some kind of space there, or some kind of, Rotaract meets here, or Rotaract starts here, something like that. And I think we have a budget. I think we allocated a few dollars for the Rotaract Club. That could be for that. And then we likely can, for the next year, Sonia could try to have a requisition for, a standard amount of money for the Rotaract Club to support those ideas or those groups. And I do think, if on the one idea we were asking earlier, I think we're thriving for in-person events to, just to get back and have, if it's a friend of yours that has no idea about Rotaract or Rotary, invite them out to, to do some of those things, and just say, hey, I've got this project. I'd love you to partner with me for 2 hours or whatever part of the day, and just to try and make a rebuild relationships, because we're seeing quite a fracture with some of the things that we've had to deal with for the last couple of years. And like the Zoom meeting, for instance, you really can't get the whole communication. You don't really see a lot of body language or see how people are involved or engaged. And so, those in-person things that Sylvia has been trying to create, and those opportunities, I think that's, we really need to do more of those. And if we call it a micro project, great, whatever it is, if it's 3 people or 6 people, I think that's wonderful. But, again, I want to see if Julia can have, help us put some signage out there. And I know Guy, has good ties to the college out there, and I think he'd support that. And, maybe he'd go out and we'd have a meeting there next time, or, we can create an assembly of sorts out at the college there, and, see some of the student body, let them observe us getting together, and, hey, what's going on, grow some interest that way. I think that would be fun and exciting way to maybe grow the membership, grow the ranks there.
Richard, that's a great idea.
I've got an idea that kind of a step before that. What I want to do, and I was going to talk to Elliot about this. Elliot, I need you to send me your phone number, email it to me after this. Here's my idea is that let's just set up a table there at the high school, set one up at the college, and just show them, here's some sample, placemats, and here's some sample pamphlets. Now look at this and tell me which one of these is most likely going to get you to turn the page. Basically, that's all the headline's for. If you can get the person to turn the page, it's done its job. And so give them like a dozen of those or something, and say, I just want to do a little market research here. Give me your top 4. And while you're writing down the results, you can be explaining to them, yeah, this is something that we're doing. We're looking for somebody at the schools that can good at graphics, or somebody that's willing to do a little research or something. You can start talking to people while you're collecting their quote data. And then when you've done that, then hopefully you might have a few interested people that know something more about it. Like when Elliot and the other high school students made their presentation, the one girl that did the speech about styrofoam and all the hazards it has and stuff like that. I'm just hoping to get kind of a handful of people who are actually committed to this. And I think that doing some kind of a little market research thing might be a first step before you try and hold the meeting. Just an idea. I'm done.
I like that idea, Guy. I really do like that idea. And again, if we can involve our 2 out-of-towners, Sally and Jim, and just have you help us with research or with ideas about a project you like to do, we'd really, really appreciate that. And Elliot, do you want to say anything since you came in late? Put you on the spot.
Yeah, so unfortunately I missed most of Guy's pitch thing he had going on about the placemats, but I'll send him my phone number so we can talk more about that later. But I don't know if I have much to say. Basically the same thing I had to say as last time is I'm really excited to be a part of this, getting something going. I was like the founding member of the Interact Club in Newport after all these years of it like not existing. I'm really and I've seen all that's done for Newport High School and the good that's done, and I'm really excited to bring that to a broader scale with you guys and with Rotaract.
Thanks, Elliot. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad, I know you had some conflicts. I'm really glad that you could make it today. And for those of you who don't know, on April 30th, Elliot will be competing at our district level in the 4-way speech contest. He won it here in Newport. I, for one, am going to attend that. Yes, let's all clap for him. Your speech was amazing, Elliot. I'm going to go to that lunch and support you, and I hope other Rotarians will too, from Newport, because I think we little people out here on the coast who are not in the valley, not that we love the valley, but sometimes the rural areas out here, we don't get the credit we deserve. And I'm really, really proud of you, Elliot. So I want to support you.
Thank you very much. All of your support means a lot to me. I really appreciate it.
We've got about 4 more minutes. Does anybody else want to say anything?
In addition to Guy's idea of pamphlets, I think you should try like just little mini cards, because I found that a lot of my friends are a lot more likely to take little miniature cards that they can just like slip into their pocket or their wallet than they are to take pamphlets. That'd just be a reminder for later.
Yeah, that could easily have 4 or 5 bullet points on there, saying 1 or 2 things, just a great reminder. That's a great idea.
And let's not diminish the power of the QR code these days, even if it's just a QR code to Rotary in general, the National Rotary site to learn more. If there's a direct Rotaract link, that would be awesome.
And maybe we can have a Twitter account or Instagram, social media, and we can spread the word through the social media.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great idea, Sally. Yeah, we do have a Facebook account, and Sonia and I are administrators on the Rotaract Newport Facebook account. So if you're on Facebook, look for Rotaract Newport and like us. And I should have put the meeting in for today, but I've got to tell you, I'm just bogged down with the end of tax season this year, which usually doesn't happen for me, but fortunately it is happening for me. And that, again, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it, or my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I had a question for Elliot, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Did you set up a TikTok account for the Interact Club at Newport?
No, I did not.
So do you have any social media for the club?
No, not that we do have an Instagram account, and I believe Amy runs it.
Okay. Is it pretty active?
Let me check on it right now.
Because building off of existing club content where we already have a network will make it easier to get the message out. Creating a new page from scratch can be challenging.
Yeah, mostly all it is just posting when the meetings are.
Okay.
So that's all it is right now. It could be, I'll talk to Amy about turning it into something where we kind of show what we're doing.
Yeah, because I think that would really help. And if we could point things towards content where you have already people following, that'll help to drive people hopefully to join us.
Yes, that'd be great.
Plus, I think if
Hey, I just want to add something that I'm 74 years old, and the reason why my thing is low tech is because I have no clue on how to do cue cards and TikToks and this and that. So if somebody wants to take all that, more power to you. The other thing I wanted to say is that there's only, in my mind, there's two ways to motivate people to do something here. And one is through the altruism, you know, boy, it's going to make me feel good that I went out and did something. And the other one is through incentives. Give them, you know, have a contest or put your name in the hat. And if you do something good, you know, you might win something. And so that's something else we might think about.
I think it's also to add as a little caveat, if you have the president also be a admin on the social media, then they can see something happening and post immediately, and you know, and it might give a better flair for, or something that's more in tune with the cross section of people that we're looking for. But I think that if we, you know, if we identify, or however we're going to do picking the officers, you know, have one or two of those folks be also an admin, and then, you know, they can be in there. So that's a little incentive. If we see someone who wants to be president, like they'll have that little benefit there. So.
And a little dog that said "arf."
Yeah, Sammy won't shut up, sorry.
Well, that's a very old reference to a song called Quiche Lorraine. I think it was Amy Thompson who told me she can actually design QR codes. Maybe there's an app for it. I looked at her like she was some sort of a sorceress that I admired, but that's something that file away for our rememberings for placemats.
I've made several QR codes for our Interact Club as well.
There we go.
Well, we're just about, we're at 4:30. Does anybody have any final thoughts? And I did find the record button, and I recorded most of the meeting. John Zagel, who is our guru extraordinaire for Rotary Club, he is going to help me make this into a video, and I'll put it on Facebook, and I will email it to all of you, or give you the link, or put it on YouTube, I'm sorry, and give you all the link, and I'll put it on our Facebook page too.
Thanks, Diane, for all the work you're doing here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I hope you'll all come to our next meeting, May 24th at 3:30, and come with ideas. And Guy, if you can come and ask us specifically what you'd like us to do. I think you probably got some good ideas today, I hope. I think our club would like to help you, and that will get us started on a project.
And I would say
I will give it some thought.
if Elliot can help in that, great. Or if some of the others on that marketing, you know, to do a test, if there's opportunities or avenues where they may be able to put something out, or we get content to them and do a little testing and see, you know, which, maybe you have that table, maybe you have two things on there and see which one gets picked up first, or which headline, like he's saying, turn the page, which one grabs your eyes, you know. So I would say if anybody else is available, whether you're Newport or Tennessee, you know, let's try that and see if you've got a space at your work or your job or your school, and see if he can help out in that research for us and see what would work. So I'll let you guys also be able to participate in that. And if you're interested, Guy would love we'll get some content and get it out to you guys.
And Jim,
Again,
go ahead, Guy, sorry.
well, again, if you got something in mind that you want to do, or if you're just plain willing to help, give me your phone number. We'll talk. We'll just take it from there.
Okay, and I'd rather do something as a club, but that's okay. We can do it however it works. And Jim, I wanted to let you know that University of Ohio has a Rotaract Club, and Sonia was texting me, are we working with other Rotaract clubs? And I said, well, not that I know of. So if you, I don't know how much time you have, but if you want to check into that club and maybe we can do something with that Rotaract club. So,
Yeah, I can look into it and see what they're up to. I will say I am planning on serving a mission for my church. I should be leaving around August for that, so I will only be available until then.
that's okay. I hope you'll join a Rotaract club wherever you're going. Do you know where you're going yet?
I don't. 3 of my friends have been called on missions. 2 of them have been sent to Canada, and 1 was sent to Tahiti. So
Okay.
I don't know.
How long are you gone for?
2 years.
And just to clarify, I don't, and I wasn't very clear, Diane, I'm sorry. I was wondering if this club itself was ready to take on a service project, because I think that we're still forming a club. I don't know that we really have a club, but like we've talked about, I think that there definitely is a service project, and hey, the more people we can get involved, the better. So yeah, if there's other Rotaract, Rotary, anybody who wants to join in, and Guy, let's talk more and let's get the environment. There's no reason to wait until 2023. We could get this project over and done with in all of the restaurants and hotels before Diane takes over as president in 2023.
Well, thanks, everybody. I think we can say good evening, and thank you again for all of you for being willing to participate and having fun with us, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
See you next month.